The James Show Podcast.
You know, it's the timing on so many of these stories that gets your attention. It's the context that it comes in to where were these people 5 years ago? I'm going to play you a montage of people. They're all on Team Blue, so they're either elected Democrats or people who are in the intelligence community. You'll hear them introduce themselves. And they're telling cops, soldiers, and other intelligence officers to not follow Trump's orders. Refuse illegal orders. Now, this is the montage where I guess technically they're right. You know, just following orders that we all decided that didn't fly after World War II. We all decided that you're a sentient human being. And if your orders are unconstitutional, you have a duty to not follow them. I'd just like to say, where were all of these people that you're about to hear in this montage during COVID? Where are all these people who were so concerned about unconstitutional orders? You know, when they told you couldn't go to church, when they shut your business, when they kicked your kids out of school, when they wouldn't let you gather, even in your own private home. So we had the violation of the press, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, all just rolled up into one big fat lockdown package. And none of these people were telling cops, soldiers, intelligence officers, government agents to refuse unconstitutional orders. They're just saying it now. For what? People being deported? Here's the montage.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army.
Our Navy.
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
Our Constitution.
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So I agree that there is a moral and legal obligation to ignore unlawful orders. But if none of y'all said any of this during COVID, your opinion means nothing to me. You're not for the Constitution. You're exploiting my love for the Constitution and my reverence for the Constitution in order to, foment hate against Trump? Yeah, so not buying that. Look, if you are not happy with the military doing the strikes against the Venezuelan boats, I think you have a pretty good case to make. I think that's an extrajudicial killing, an act of war. If there's a soldier who's like, I'm not pushing that button, I think there's a discussion to be had. I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, but I'll admit there's enough of a gray area there that I would invite that debate. But if you didn't also hold that same position when Barack Obama drone strike and killed an American citizen overseas, not on accident, on purpose, he was the target, the principal target of the strike, then I don't want to hear it. Then you don't really stand up for the Constitution. You don't really feel this way about unlawful orders, unconstitutional orders. And I noticed they didn't actually go into detail. What are you talking about? What's an illegal order here? Are you talking about the Venezuelan boat strikes? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about the deportations, the mass deportations? Are you talking about sanctuary city policies? What are you talking about? So we have a whole bunch of people. You can refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. All right. So I think this isn't sedition. Technically, it's sedition, but it's closer to sedition than what January 6th was. These are people who are trying to cleave law enforcement, the intelligence community, and the military from their commander-in-chief. So, yes, of course, you have a moral duty to refuse illegal orders. I got it. But I have a feeling that these aren't even really illegal orders, just orders that you guys don't like. Rumors are that we're about to have a pretty bad flu season. We'll talk to the head virologist of Texas A&M, Dr. Benjamin Newman, and see what he says about that next. By the way, y'all's football team's having a pretty good season over there. Congrats.
South Carolina game was close, though.
Yeah, well, let's not give ourselves a heart attack here. So, Dr. Benjamin Newman, thank you for coming back on the James Show. I wanted to have you on because some rumors are floating around that this is going to be flu season that's sort of above average when it comes to activity. Is there any truth to that rumor? Is that what you see?
Way too early to tell is the short answer for that. What we're seeing worldwide is the WHO actually has different strain recommendations for the vaccine, like the different strains that are making up the vaccine, than the CDC. And the CDC's one, they actually tested both of them and found that theirs is going to work a whole lot better than the one the WHO is recommending. So I feel like we may be in better shape than most places, but it's really too early to know. What we're going to see, though, is that it will happen in the sewers before it happens in the hospitals. And they are monitoring wastewater in Houston and around like Dallas and Plano. And so far, the levels are very low in both of those places. They're sky high, though, for both norovirus and COVID at the moment. So there's still stuff going around that's preventable, but flu hasn't really hit yet.
All right. So how do you tell the difference between a flu and a cold or other common viruses that you get? How do you know when you have the flu?
Yeah, with a fancy test, because they feel exactly the same. Yeah, no way to do it based on symptoms. And a lot of people have tried, and basically it just, too much variability.
Wow, it really is a test. Can you tell if you have the flu or something else, even when you have it?
Oh, I think I can tell. And then I take the test and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I was wrong again. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how do you recommend preventing it? Besides the vaccine, what else do you recommend for people to minimize their chances of getting the flu?
Yeah, unless you want to go into a sealed telephone booth for the entire holiday season. And I don't think that sounds fun.
Well, I don't think phone booths are a thing anymore.
This is true. I've seen some empty ones with ripped out phones. Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Ben, I need to add that to my list because my kids have never seen a telephone booth.
They'll be in museums someday. We can take them there. Yeah, tell them how life used to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, the old Supermans throw them off, but there's not really some way you can seal yourself off. Is what you're getting at.
No. And that's a miserable way to do the holidays. The best thing, what the vaccine does, is it makes the effects of the virus predictable and very small. If you don't get the updated vaccine, essentially you're rolling the dice and your body may do well and it may do badly and you can't tell, and there's kind of no way to influence the outcome. There is a neat new drug, though. It's called baloxavir or Zofluza with an X and a Z. And those may help in people who are at really high risk for catching it. But you have to get them really early, like just after the infection, maybe before you have symptoms, for those to work really well.
So I had a doctor on the show, I think it was last week, maybe been 2 weeks ago. He said for people that get the flu vaccine, they are more likely to contract an illness than people who don't. And not necessarily the flu, just other illnesses. Is there something to that?
No, and that's... So I looked through all the data that was presented to the FDA and the CDC and the WHO, and there's nothing like that in there. I know there are people that'll tell you got to take zinc or lick a pipe or something like that, but it's the sort of thing where if you did it once and it worked out, it's like a superstition, basically. But when they try these in big studies and have everybody do the same thing, it doesn't actually change the outcome at all.
Yeah, see, this is an ongoing debate between myself and mother-in-law, and the fact that anytime she gets sick, she goes out and gets some treatment of some sort. She'll go get a Z-Pack shot or something. Yeah. And then when it clears up in a couple of days, she'll say, hey, look, it worked. I will get sick and I won't do anything. And in a couple of days, it'll clear up and I'll go to her and I'll say, see, look, it worked. And so,
and you know what worked? It's the immune system in both cases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there anything you can really do to fight a virus like that?
No, the only thing you can do is prepare your immune system to recognize this exact virus. And then instead of it taking about, a week, 10 days during which you feel miserable for you to get a nice immune response, it's already there at the beginning and you can start fighting as soon as the virus gets there.
All right. Well, we're having the official James Show Spin the Bottle tournament next week. What could possibly go wrong? So, all right. Dr. Benjamin Newman, thank you very much for taking the time out there. I saw some flu headlines and wanted to clear some of that up. So your expertise is very appreciated, sir.
Anytime.
All right. There you go. So next up on the James Show, I want to play you Sunny Hostin from The View. Sunny Hostin from The View said something that, I guess technically it's racist. I'm not even sure if she is racist. This would meet the definition of racism if she meant it. I don't even think she means the terrible things she says. But she has been so indoctrinated, just so conditioned, so trained, so groomed to hate this country that every once in a while, the truth just slips out. And when she's talking about people in America, she's talking about you. She's talking about the people who disagree with her. She's talking about me. She's talking about Garrett across the glass and you, Sunny Hostin, this week.
I think that's very aspirational and that's wonderful. But, because of my lived experience as an Afro-Latina, I'm able to look at this world with a different prism, and I'm able to tell this country and tell this audience and tell my fellow co-hosts some uncomfortable truths. This is a country based on racism and slavery. And founded in it, there is systemic racism
and misogyny.
And there are people that I've never met anyone that raises their hand and says, I am racist. However, there are people that seem to be able to look the other way when it comes to racism. So you have a president who traffics in misogyny, who traffics in xenophobia, who traffics in sexism.
And won.
And won against a black woman. So don't tell me that this country is ready for a black woman. Don't tell me this country is ready for a woman.
All right, so at the beginning of that, I can tell you because of my lived experience as an Afro-Hispanic woman, and then she just continues. You realize she is setting up the scenario to where you see these endemic traits, these ones I can't control, my skin color and my ethnicity. This renders my opinion more valid than yours based solely on the color of her skin and her ethnicity. That meets the definition of racism. Do I think she's actually racist? No, but she just said a racist thing. That's for sure. But I want to back up to something. We had a discussion on Monday's show that I want to revisit because on last Friday's Daily Show, Jon Stewart was saying, hey, right wing, you don't own patriotism. You're not the only people who love this country. You don't own the flag. And I was making the case, yeah, we do own patriotism. You're not a patriot. You do not love this country if you think that it is filled with racist, sexist, bigot, homophobes. If you think its founding moral principles was slavery and oppression, the foundation of our terrible society is white patriarchy. You love that? Is that what you love? Is that what you say about a country you love? Absolutely not. So let's revisit that here. Jon Stewart.
You just want that person to give you your country back because you feel that you're this country's rightful owners. There's only one problem with that. This country isn't yours. You don't own it. It never was. There is no real America. You don't own it. You don't own patriotism. You don't own Christianity. You sure as hell don't own respect for the bravery and sacrifice of military, police, and firefighters. Trust me, I saw a lot of people on the convention floor in Cleveland with their Blue Lives Matter rhetoric who either remained silent or actively fought against the 9/11 First Responders Bill reauthorization. I see you.
Yes. See, I supported this redistribution of wealth and you didn't. See, so I totally love this country more than you do. What kind of weird stuff is that? But this is the weird game they have to play because at some point they have to recognize you're talking about yourself. You're talking about your own country. You're talking about, oh, this is a terrible country. Well, you're in it. You're an American. And at the same time, you can't turn around and say, you don't own patriotism. No, I think I do. I think the person that thinks this country is, for the most part, well-intentioned, its founding, its morals, its principles, its behavior, it's full of overwhelmingly good people with maybe a few idiots thrown in there, here and there. I think I love the country far more than Sonny Hossett on The View or Jon Stewart on The Daily Show or really anyone on Team Blue. I think it's pretty clear we do own that. This is so fun because you've heard guests on this show. You've heard callers on this show try and pull this whole canard. Well, yeah, I thought he was just going after the criminal illegal aliens. Yeah, well, they're all criminals. Well, I mean, that's not it. So they all are criminals. And what they need to say is they haven't committed any additional crimes besides immigration crimes. But in order to be honest, they would have to admit that these people were criminals in the first place. And they want people that they want their mindless foot soldiers, the useful idiots out there to hate Trump as much as possible and think he's just scooping up people for no reason and deporting them, even citizens, people who were born here. It's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Where would you deport someone who's an American? Are you deporting them, to Tyler? So here's Dana Bash on CNN, and her guest, is sympathetic to what she's saying here and kind of laughs it off. Like, yeah, I mean, God, if you want to be technical, I guess if you break the law and commit a crime, I guess technically you're criminal.
What had said is we're going to get the criminals out of the country. And what the people who work for him have said is we don't care if they have actually committed crimes here. They see the crime, which it technically is, of being in the U.S. without being a citizen illegally.
Yeah, Eric, technically, yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, guy, if you want to be a jerk about it, technically it's illegal. I just love hearing these people at some point have to stumble onto the truth and finally admit that this narrative that they've been pushing this whole time. You know what I really enjoyed? If you want to go back a few years ago, I really enjoyed the Jussie Smollett situation because it was a whole month. You probably don't remember how bad it was. I don't know. Maybe it sticks with me because I'm a talk radio host. We were all over this for an entire month, like a month after it happened, like well into February. Jussie Smollett got an interview on Good Morning America, and Robin Roberts was throwing him softballs and believing all the crap that he said, not challenging anything. I mean, he was like kind of crying and holding back tears, and I fought back and all that stuff. And she was just a dupe. She was an absolute dupe, which would have been totally unconscionable if it had happened the day after the attack. But this happened a month after the attack. So what does that mean? That means for a month, there were people going online. There were people doing shows like mine. There were Fox News shows. There was people streaming. It was all over social media on all the facts, on how all this stuff doesn't line up and how all the evidence shows that this guy's totally lying. And she still went out there and did the little softy interview. And then when it finally came out, having to hear all these people say, wow, I guess he really fooled everybody. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't fool us. He didn't fool you. He didn't fool me. I kept the screenshot. I'll show it to you. I have to tweet it every once in a while. Where the story about Jussie Smollett's attack came out on like January 30th. And one of the members of the squad, Talib, had done some sort of tweet where this is Trump's America. This is kind of America we live in, where a gay black man gets attacked by guys in a MAGA hat and blah, 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 blah. And so I replied to that 0% chance this happened. This was the day after the news broke. Well, I didn't have a whole month to go line by line. You heard the story, and the first time you heard it, you go, oh, well, that didn't happen, right? That's what I said. Oh, that didn't happen. There's no way there's dudes that are walking around just carrying a noose in case we run into some gay black Democrat celebrity that we hate. We can put it on him and intimidate him with it. No one's carrying around bleach either. No one says this is MAGA country. In fact, I'm not even sure if anyone wearing a MAGA hat has committed a crime worse than jaywalking. Plus, they're not going to be in that neighborhood. Plus, they're not going to be looking to jump randos at 1:30 in the morning during a polar vortex when it's like 1 degree. But you don't have to be smart to be on TV. You just have to be compliant. Robin Roberts didn't get that job because she's a brain buster. Robin Roberts got that job because the people who gave her that job could trust her. You can even put Jussie Smollett in front of her, and she'll still sing from the script. And if anything, this should be inspiring to you. I am inspired every day. I walk through the WBAP newsroom getting ready for the show, and one of the shows that's on the TVs, we have a whole bank of monitors in the newsroom. There's an afternoon talk show hosted by Sherry Shepherd. You know who Sherry Shepherd is? She used to be on The View. She's had her own show for years now. She makes millions of dollars. On The View, it was exposed that she's so dumb She doesn't even know if the world's flat or not. And she's not a flat earther. She just hadn't even thought about it.
Is the world flat?
Is the world flat?
Yes.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I never thought about it, Whoopi. Is the world flat? I never thought about it.
You never thought about whether the world was
round? No, because but I tell you what I've thought about, how I'm going to feed my child, how I'm going to take care of my family. The world flat has never entered into, that has not been an important thing to me.
You'll teach your son, Jeffrey,
If my son, Jeffrey, asked me if the world flat, I guess I will go,
didn't Columbus already work?
Yeah. You know what I've thought about? How I'm going to take care of my kids. You can do both. Here, Garrett and I are like reading history books and learning how to work all this equipment and staying ahead of technology and becoming AI masters, trying to get ahead in the game. This woman doesn't even know if the world's flat or hadn't even thought about it. She got her own syndicated talk show. She didn't get it because she's smart or she's going to bring you the truth. She's a team player. She can be used and manipulated. Same reason Sunny Hostin's on The View now in that same seat. Not because she's smart, not because she's insightful, because she fits the narrative. Same reason Robin Roberts got on Good Morning America. Same reason why most of those people are in their jobs. Not because they're smart, not because they're the best at it, but because they comply. Which is why I'm probably going to be stuck at WBAP for the rest of my life. And that suits me just fine. This is where I need to be. The top story of the day is Governor Abbott declaring a couple of groups as terrorist organizations. So this terror designation goes to now the Muslim Brotherhood and CAIR, Council on American Islamic Relations. Quick summary from WFAA.
Well, two Muslim civil rights groups are pushing back tonight after Governor Abbott labeled them foreign terrorist organizations. The governor accused the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, otherwise known as CAIR, of supporting global terrorism and twisting state law through intimidation and violence, a designation that bars both groups from owning land in Texas. Tonight, CAIR says it won't be deterred, calling his claims defamatory and lawless. They just issued a letter pointing to decades defending civil rights and condemning unjust violence, including terrorism.
All right, now I want to cross-reference this story with something else that keeps coming up. 60 Minutes did another story on Margaret Atwood, the author of The Handmaid's Tale, not this Sunday, but last Sunday. And we had played a little bit of that on the James Show. We were talking about it last week, right?
Atwood's books have been banned for content deemed overly sexual, morally corrupt, anti-Christian. She told us she was particularly peeved when a recent ban came from Edmonton, Alberta, in her own country.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the book is so banned, you can order it on this little-known website called, what's it called? Oh, yeah, Amazon. Yeah, that's how banned it is. If you order right now, you can get it to your house in 6 hours. Yeah, it's so banned. It can be express shipped to your house before the end of the close of business tomorrow. But that aside, I'm just using that to set up this viral video here where this lady comes in and she's like, hey, are you ready for The Handmaid's Tale? If you're not familiar with Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood wrote this book back in the 80s about how America falls into a Christian theocracy, these Christian fascist terrorists take over, and there is a problem with fertility in the future. And so the evil white Christian men have to seize control of all the uteruses of the young fertile women. It's like Rachel Maddow's worst nightmare. It's just fan fiction on hating Christians is what it is. But they treat this like this is right around the corner, like this is so true. Anyway, check out this viral video.
So it looks like all the white women who voted for Trump are about to find out what Serena Joy went through when they cut off her little finger in The Handmaid's Tale. Because Trump's buddies are all over social media saying, hey, guess what? We are going to enact Project 2025, and Trump has just promised us all spots in his administration. Joke's on you. So have fun with that one, ladies, because we told you so. And when you are bleeding out in an emergency room, when they take away your right to vote, all of these things that are about to happen to you, they're not going to ask you who you voted for. They're not going to ask you what you thought about Project 2025 and you really thought it was Agenda 47 and that's not what Trump told you. They're not going to care one little bit because we're all going down with the ship, okay? Because this country couldn't elect a woman president. They especially couldn't elect a woman of color. So instead, you put a man in office who's guilty of assault, who's a felon, because you'd rather carry water for the white men in your life.
All right, that's enough of that. Do you appreciate the delicious irony of this woman that's so concerned about a theocracy taking over, that's a patriarchal theocracy that oppresses women and gives them strict dress codes, makes them cover up? Now, in Handmaid's Tale, they make them dress like a ketchup bottle with a big bonnet on, which is almost as bad as a burqa and a headscarf. Isn't that ironic? Don't you appreciate that? Here you have Governor Abbott and Team Red actually trying to protect women from this kind of theocratic oppression of women. Do you think women in Iran have the same complement of rights that you have here in America? No? Boy, if these people are so upset about how oppressive Christianity is to women, they're going to be real upset when they figure out what's going on in Islam, aren't they? Thank you very much for hanging out with the James Show today. Stick around. The great one, Mark Levin's coming up next. In the meantime, if you need some more James Show action in the next 21 hours, that's what the podcast is for. Go download the podcast at WBAP.com, WBAP app. But I know some of you use other apps like Spotify or whatever. I'm probably on that. The little podcast icon on your phone, I'm in that too. However you find it, go find it, share it, help me grow this show, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.